he may not have to, but I believe he can if he does have to, and I believe that'll be the difference if he gets out of the first round. I'll go with uh, Aspinall.
I would say that I think Aspinall is probably the more well-rounded fighter in this fight, but they're both very talented guys. And at heavyweight, again, one punch changes the whole thing. But my gut tells me, obviously, that I'm going with Aspinall on this one. I would have to say that I think that he's just, he's hungry, he's young, he's ready to go, and I think he gets it done.
Gane have speed as well and big, but I believe Aspinall is more complete and a little bit better than him. And he doesn't spend much time on the octagon, so I believe it's gonna be a quick finish as well.
You have to make Aspinall make mistakes, and I think he's willing to make them by rushing his offense, make him do it. You know what I mean? And then you have to be ready to kind of intercept him as a consequence. But I think staying off the bottom, staying off of him, having a tight waist.
Your training is like ridiculous all the time, no?
The way that I like to do it is I got 5 training partners. I'm fighting a 5-round fight.
MMA pros are giving their predictions on Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane in the latest round of expert takes, from bold calls to surprising insights. Here's what the fighters think will happen when these two heavyweights collide. Let's dive in. Kicking things off, Curtis Blaydes is the first to share his take in the matchup. The heavyweight contender believes Tom Aspinall holds a clear advantage when it comes to grappling. Blaydes explained that if Tom can survive the early storm and get past the first round, his ground skills and control could give him the edge to take over and secure the win.
I believe that Aspinall does have the advantage, though, in that the grappling department. I believe that whenever he wants to, he'll be able to put Ciryl on his back, and he may not have to, but I believe he can if he does have to, and I believe that'll be the difference if he gets out of the first round. I'll go with Aspinall.
Next up, Merab Dvalishvili's coach, John Wood, shared his prediction. He acknowledged that both fighters are well-rounded, but ultimately leaned toward Tom Aspinall. Wood explained that while Ciryl Gane is talented, he hasn't consistently displayed the same level of athleticism. In his view, the momentum and hype are all behind Tom right now, and he believes Aspinall has what it takes to get the job done.
All the hype is on Aspinall. Ciryl Gane, obviously a great fighter. He's very talented. He's a very big guy. He moves great. So you're talking about two of the most athletic heavyweights out there right now. Gane just hasn't, the problem with him, I would say at this point in time, is in the big event, the big show, his big moment, he hasn't showed up he hasn't showed up in the spots and performed as well as he can, so is this the time that he will? I would say that I think Aspinall is probably the more well-rounded fighter in this fight, but they're both very talented guys. And at heavyweight, again, one punch changes the whole thing. But my gut tells me, obviously, that I'm going with Aspinall on this one. I would have to say that I think that he's just, he's hungry, he's young, he's ready to go. And I think he gets it done.
UFC light heavyweight Johnny Walker also jumped in with his prediction, siding firmly with Tom Aspinall. He praised Ciryl Gane as a solid fighter, but admitted he doesn't see him on Tom's level. According to Walker, Aspinall is the more complete and dynamic athlete equipped with better overall skills. He even predicted an early finish, noting that Tom rarely spends much time in the octagon, and expects him to handle business quickly once again.
Yeah, I believe Tom Aspinall, he had to fight, bro. He was waiting for John for so long, and that would be a really good run back for him. And I believe he's gonna fight. He's as well one of a kind, He's big, have speed, Tom Aspinall, and of course, Gane have speed as well and big. But I believe Aspinall is more complete and a little bit better than him. And he doesn't spend much time on the octagon, so I believe it's going to be a quick finish as well.
Meanwhile, analyst Luke Thomas broke down a potential blueprint for Ciryl Gane to pull off the win. He explained that Gane will need to show the same kind of focus and attentiveness seen in fighters like Max Holloway, and according to Thomas, the key lies in forcing Aspinall into making mistakes, staying off his back, maintaining distance, and applying steady pressure throughout. If Gane can stick to that game plan, Thomas believes he has a real chance and shot at turning the tide.
Is going to be really important. Like, think about the attentiveness with which Max Holloway, ever seen him where he's fully locked in and he's jabbing and circling, and his eyes are always looking. Like that kind of an approach, I think for Gane could be pretty important, because it is A, what he does well typically when he's doing it, and B, I think, you know, just the reality is you have to make Aspinall make mistakes, and I think he's willing to make them by rushing his offense, make him do it. You know what I mean? And then you have to be ready to kind of intercept him as a consequence. But I think staying off the bottom, staying off of him, having a tight waist, putting him at the end of your jab, circling, and then tiring him out, and then putting pressure on later for a guy.
Luke Thomas also pointed out some key flaws in Ciryl Gane's game, referencing his struggles against Jon Jones and his grappling issues in the Volkov fight. He believes those weaknesses could be exactly where Tom Aspinall capitalizes. Thomas predicted that Tom will likely shoot for an early takedown, knowing Gane is far more comfortable on the feet than on the mat. In his view, that's where Aspinall holds the clear advantage and where the fight could quickly swing in his favor.
He might feel him out a little bit. Gane's not a one-hitter quitter necessarily, so he might feel him out a little bit, but I definitely feel like he's going to try and take him down. I mean, just given what Jon Jones did to him, you know, even if you've been working steadily since then, he turned in a bad grappling performance against Volkov too. Like, you'd be stupid not to take it down. He's credible as a threat on his feet. He is not credible as a threat on the ground. Certainly not on the defensive side. So put him there.
But it's not just Luke Thomas pointing out Gane's weaknesses. Tom Aspinall himself has echoed some of those observations. He acknowledged Gane's recent improvements, but was quick to remind everyone that he has been evolving too. Even though his clash with Jon Jones never came to life, Aspinall stayed sharp, training, helping teammates, and perfecting his craft. Now he says he's ready to expose the same gaps in Gane's game that others have noticed, especially in the grappling department.
If I hit anybody, I can knock anybody out. And I think that Ciryl is no exception, but obviously there are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved. Do you know what I mean? This is an MMA fight, it can go anywhere, so I'm sure we'll both be ready for anything. We're both better now than we were a few years ago. We both have a lot more experience. You know, Cyryl's had 2 title shots already. I defended the interim title, I now hold the undisputed title, so I think this fight's going to be better, and I think it's pretty rare that you see any guys of our size that move like we do.
Tom, you said in the past, after the Sergey Pavlovich fight, you were asked, you said, is Ciryl Gane the next challenger for you? And you said no. So now that he's sitting across from you, do you believe that he deserves the title shot right now?
Aspinall made it clear that he's leaving nothing to chance this time. He has been tuning every aspect of his game, striking, grappling, and everything in between, fully aware that Gane has likely worked to patch up his past flaws. Interestingly, Tom even suggested he wouldn't be shocked if Gane switched things up and went for a takedown. His tone remained composed yet assured, a quiet confidence that no matter which version of Gane steps into the octagon, he'll be ready to handle it.
Your training is like ridiculous all the time, no?
The way that I like to do it is I got 5 training partners. I'm fighting a 5-round fight. I'll stay in the middle and I'll spar with a different sparring partner. 1 round each, yeah. That is the because you want to prepare for the worst training to fight the second best fight in the world for potentially 25 minutes.
Meanwhile, Luke Thomas issued a word of caution for Ciryl Gane, urging him not to repeat the same mistakes he made against Jon Jones and Alexander Volkov. He emphasized that Gane must display real growth this time and avoid giving Aspinall the chance to dictate the pace. According to Thomas, if Gane can stay sharp with his jab and keep the exchanges technical, he could turn the fight into a chess match, forcing Tom to adjust and think his way through. Still, he warned, Gane can't afford to look lost or reckless against someone as dynamic and dangerous as Aspinall.
Yeah, I think if he gives it, yeah, that's right. I think if he gives Aspinall, you know, I won't say a tough fight, but a commendable effort, you know. Somebody who does, and he doesn't, this is the part too, like, just don't make bad decisions. Don't make bad grappling decisions. Don't make decisions that make you look like a fish out of water, right? That's the issue. But if he does, you know, what Gane can do on the feet with his jab and his movement, and Aspinall has to like problem solve around that, that's different. You just don't want to be made to look like a fool. You don't want to be made to look like, you know, you're only in this position because you're competing in a division full of donks, you know what I mean?
One man throwing his support behind Ciryl Gane is none other than Alex Pereira, the two-division UFC powerhouse. Pereira pointed out that most of Aspinall's past opponents were pressure-heavy fighters who walked straight into his precision counters. Gane, however, operates on a completely different wavelength. According to Pereira, the early rounds could see Aspinall struggling to find his rhythm, as Gane uses movement, range, and patience to dictate the tempo, forcing Tom to chase rather than control.
It's a tough fight, you know. Tom is a complete fighter, but I do feel like he's fought a lot of aggressive guys, and I think Gane is a guy who's going to do a lot of movement. He's going to be a little more cautious and you know, just moving around a lot, and might frustrate Tom. You know, so first, second, third round, maybe Tom can't find Ciryl Gane, so I think it's going to be a different fight. We'll see.
On the flip side, Ciryl Gane appears completely unfazed by the noise surrounding the matchup. If anything, he feels more locked in and ready than ever. The French heavyweight has been here before, under the blinding lights with the world watching, and he's learned from every stumble. In his chat with UFC on TNT Sports, Gane reflected on how those past setbacks taught him to manage the chaos. He admitted that the pressure of title fights, the cameras, the fans, the expectations, once got to him, but this time, he's carrying experience instead of nerves.
What did you learn from your past experiences fighting for the championship against Francis and against John?
At first, I think all of that, you see, the conference, the media, everything it's heavy for the fighter. And I remember against Francis, it was so heavy. It was not easy. And yeah, this is a good exercise because you must be prepared for that. This has had a little bit more pressure for the storytelling, everything. And yeah, I remember for John Jones it was easier, so I'm sure for the next one it's going to be easy.
He recalled that during the Francis Ngannou fight, the pressure was almost suffocating. The media obligations, non-stop interviews, and constant attention weighed heavily on him. Gane admitted it took a toll on his mindset, but by the time he faced John Jones, things had changed. He felt composed, seasoned, and far more comfortable under the glare of the spotlight. A fighter who had learned how to carry the moment rather than be crushed by it.
Have you found the last 2 years in particular frustrating with the UFC? It felt like the heavyweight division was on hold with John being out and what have you. Have you felt it frustrating yourself?
Not too much, but yeah, for sure. The division was a little bit on the stop, and now the situation is better, and that's why we got to fight with Tom. And no, I was not frustrated. I got my experience. I did already 1 year without fight because of the COVID, because the people canceled the fight. We stay every time we stay focused, we stay professional, and we trust to the work of the UFC.
Now, as he approaches UFC 321, Gane insists those past battles have forged a stronger version of himself. The weight of expectation no longer feels heavy, it feels natural. This time, he says, the moment won't rattle him. Every setback, every hard lesson has built him for this exact stage, another chance at gold, only now with clarity, composure, and unwavering focus.
And we're just waiting at the gym, keep training, and this is exactly what we did.
What are the challenges that you see in fighting Tom Aspinall?
Tom Aspinall is a new generation. He's a tough guy, he's a really good fighter, well-rounded. So yeah, he's a good fighter. I'm also a good fighter, so it's going to be a beautiful matchup. It's going to be a beautiful matchup. He's going to have his tactic, I'm going to have mine. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm really excited about this challenge.
And Gary also shared his thoughts, predicting that this fight won't last beyond the first round, and confidently leaning toward Tom Aspinall. Gary praised him as a phenomenal talent. Fast, powerful, and ruthless when he smells blood. In his view, if Tom connects it early, it lights out before Gane even gets a chance to settle in.
I don't see that fight getting out of the first round. Right. I think Tom is phenomenal. I think he's absolutely the best heavyweight we've ever seen in the UFC. I said to him, it sucks to win the belt that way, to be the champion this way, that no one's going to remember that in 3 fights time. They're just going to remember what you've done and that you are the champion of the world and you're the best in the division, and that's it.
One of the most impressed voices when it comes to Ciryl Gane's talent has always been Joe Rogan. Reflecting on Gane's dominant win over Derek Lewis, Rogan couldn't help but gush over how effortlessly Gane controlled that fight. He didn't just beat Lewis, he dismantled him, shutting him down at every turn. Each time Lewis advanced, Gane was already gone, bouncing on his feet, faking, slipping, and firing back with surgical precision. For Joe Rogan, It was one of the most technically flawless heavyweight displays he's ever seen inside the octagon.
And I'm not exaggerating. I watched it 3 times. I watched it today, in fact. I watched it in the gym today while I was working out.
So better than like in Gane in terms of movement, in terms of he's like the best moving heavyweight.
There's no question he is the best moving heavyweight I've ever seen.
Rogan went as far as to label Gane the best moving heavyweight of all time, a huge claim from someone who has witnessed every era of the sport. Standing 6'5" and around 247 pounds, Gane moves with the agility of a welterweight. Rogan highlighted how he dances around the octagon, feinting like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and argued that Gane has essentially raised the bar for modern heavyweight striking. In his eyes, Gane didn't just secure a victory, he redefined what it means to be a contemporary heavyweight.
But I mean, Ciryl Gane, who's 6'5", 247 pounds, moves like a 170-pounder. It's crazy. He's bouncing like Wonder Boy, like bouncing like this the entire fight, bouncing, throwing feints, like completely changed the standard of heavyweight striking.
Alexander Volkov, who has first-hand experience with both fighters, shared his insight on the matchup. He highlighted Gane's exceptional footwork, range control, and notable improvements in grappling, once considered his biggest weakness. At the same time, Volkov praised Aspinall's balance and adaptability, recalling how impressive Tom's timing and transitions were when they fought. Summing it up, Volkov said, "The fight is 50-50, I think. Both of them are good, and Ciryl Gane, he's really good with his movement, with his legs and everything. He's not so bad at grappling now. He started working a lot on his grappling and his ground skills, so I think it's 50-50. Volkov acknowledged that on paper, Aspinall may appear slightly sharper, but he wasn't ready to discount Gane. According to him, the fight will come down to who sets the pace first. If Gane manages to control distance, it could spell a long night for Tom. However, if Aspinall successfully cuts off the cage and takes the fight to the ground early, the outcome could shift dramatically in his favor." He added, "It depends how the fight starts, how both of them will be prepared for this fight. I saw that Gane will be motivated a lot for this fight to get the belt. It's 50-50, but on paper, when I fought both of them, Tom Aspinall looks better. But in the fight, it could go anyway." So that is all from us today, and no matter who comes out on top, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane promises fireworks inside the octagon. Every prediction, every insight points to a clash you won't want to miss. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Ring Rivalry for all the latest fight breakdowns, predictions, and exclusive fight night coverage.